everybody. Stephen and Walter.
Hello.
Do you know us? Let me introduce Walter. This is Walter, in case anybody... Oh, there's one of Walter's famous facials. Yes, Walter gives good face. I said face. But yeah, we are here, and I hope everybody can see us and hear us and everything. Let me check my monitor.
Hello.
Do you know us? Yep, we're all in there. So we got a pile of people coming in, and we have some stuff to talk about today that may upset some people, may get you mad at me, but I'll risk it. I don't imagine I'll get a lot of support from the other half on this issue because he turns on me, you know. Yeah, his name should have been Benedict, as in Benedict Arnold. But anyways, let's see who's here. So we have Russ, and Russ sent me an email earlier today telling me a setting that you can put in a YouTube Live that may avoid getting ads. So I have set it up, and we shall see if it works. So Russ is here. Russ. Yeah, okay. So then a thing comes up on what you guys can't see. It says, now would be a good time to insert ads. No, it wouldn't be. Bye-bye. So Russ, Pace is here. Lynn is here. Hi, Lynn. Barb Olson is here. Judy's here. Dal Marie is here from North Central California. Paula Hoopingarner. I don't know. Have you been here before, Paula? I don't recognize... We've had a Paula here before, but I don't recognize your last name. But if this is your first time, welcome. Melissa is here. Not her first time. And Denise, Patch 33. I'm not sure. Denise, is this your first time too? Because I'm not... Like, okay, if you've been here before and I'm just not recognizing you, you'll have to forgive me. I'm old. I have no brain. Okay. France is here. Karen is here. Brenda is here from sunny Vancouver, Washington. Cynthia is here. And Tamala is here. Gloria. Patsy Wilkinson. Robert McCallahan. And from Central Washington State. Have we seen Robert before? We've had Rob's.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Well, you're a lot of help.
I don't know.
You should be taking notes.
I suppose.
What kind of secretary are you? You know, you got to earn your keep around here. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
By the way, I'm supposed to tell you when my next hair appointment is because my hairdresser said your secretary needs to know.
Let's see. Which one would I like you to pick? Go ahead. Guess. Guess which one. Read my mind. What do you think I'm going to pick? That would be the one. Okay. Well, the second time this week I've used that. You'll find out about that. So, welcome, Robert. If this is your first time and if you've been here before and I just don't remember, I'm sorry. Charlotte's here. Kathy is here. Sue Norfleet is here. Heather Refuse is here. Sorry if I'm butchering your names. I do that a lot. Don't take it personally. I butcher everybody's name. Joan Reed is here. Pet Mom is here. It's Peggy from MO. Is that... What's MO? Missouri? No. Yes? No? Yes, I think. I think that's Missouri. Faith says she's got a new rug. Beautiful. Okay. Good for you, Faith. I'm glad you got a new rug. Designing Jay is here. Sue Lambert is here. Jan is here, of course, and wants to show off her French since she's probably at her cottage in Quebec. Bonjour, mes amis. Ça va? Andy is here.
I think it's Missouri.
Oh, it's Missouri. Okay. Sue could tell me that. Paula says, oh, yes, I just usually don't talk. Oh, okay. Well, you've talked now, so you've broken the ice, so that's okay. I think I said hello to Kathy. Did I say hello to Kathy? No, I don't think I said. Hello, Kathy. Suzanne is here. Jan says, Walter, your sewing projects are done real nice.
They're not done yet.
But they're not done.
I was going to do it today, and then I got sidetracked, which is my normal thing.
Yeah, true. Robert says, this is the first time I've spoken up, usually watch from the sidelines. You people, you need to say something. Get involved in the chat. That's what we feed on here. Don't worry, we won't make fun of you or cut you up or be sarcastic in any way. By the way, I was just being sarcastic right then and there. KW's here. We're from Southern California. We've been rocking and rolling with earthquakes. Oh,
sorry to hear.
then you've had forest fires. Now you've got earthquakes. When are the masses of lotus going to descend? Geez, that's sorry to hear that.
Actually, I haven't heard we haven't heard anything on the news.
No, I didn't hear anything about the earthquakes in Southern California. Usually we get some kind of report on that. Heather says, oh, it's Ray Fuse. Okay, Ray Fuse. Got it. M's here. Hi, Em. Karen Burnett's here. Denise says, I've been here before, but don't always say hi. Well, hi, Denise. Faith says, you have a new rug.
Oh, I was referring to jacket and shorts. Yeah, well, they're my old projects.
We don't have a new rug.
No.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, Faith. Faith, we need to know. You need to fill us in. You're being cryptic. Jan was saying I was referring to the jacket and shorts. I checked them out close up. Oh, when we showed them on So Chatty, the hoodie. She's talking about the hoodie.
Yeah, I know that, but that's my old projects.
Yeah, I want them to make me though.
Yeah, I've been meaning to make a new jacket that isn't a hoodie because I'm not that fond of having a hoodie. But I made it because we were doing it in a class, and I made it because I thought, well, I should know how to make a hoodie.
Oh, Julie's here. Hi, Julie. Yeah, but I want one of those too, but I don't want a hood on it.
I have a couple of patterns that don't have the hood on it. So actually in that pattern, I can make without the hood. So.
Oh, yeah, I noticed there isn't really a collar on that because the hood does the collar.
Yeah,
right?
it does. There's an option to do a collar.
Yeah. Okay. I'd like the option, please. Thank you very much. I'd like it for sometime for the early fall.
Yeah, I'll have to get moving on it. I should stop doing short sleeve shirts and start. Well, actually, I've been wanting to do something like that again with stretch fabric because it would be nice to. Yeah, and I'm getting bored of doing short sleeve shirts.
Well, that's fine. I have enough short sleeve shirts for this season. Once you get the last one finished.
Well, Faith says on the floor behind you. No, that's my old rug hook tuck.
Oh, yeah, maybe that doesn't always get into the shot. Maybe it's the angle I've got the computer on. Yeah, Walter made that like 40 years ago or longer. Yeah, longer.
Yeah, longer. About 46 years ago. Actually, maybe even longer than that.
Because it came with you.
Yeah.
When we got together, I
was a hooker before I met Steve.
Still is. But he's got a really big rug.
It was a company that did hooked rugs that it was done on a pattern called Shellcraft, and you could order it, and they're pure wool, but it was a kit thing. When my parents hung around with this couple and their daughter was doing one, and I thought, oh, I could do one of those. So I did a couple of them. I did that one, I did another one, and then I did a great big huge sucker that was like 10 feet long and 6 feet wide. Yeah, it's big. We used to have it down here in the rec room before we redid the rec room. We had it in our old house on the floor in the living room. Steve didn't like it. It's not that I don't like it. It just doesn't go with anything. No, it was one of those things. Actually, it's a very nice rug. It's heavy. Doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, it weighs a ton. So we've got it rolled up out in the Lucy room, sitting in a corner, which is, it is a nice rug. It just doesn't, the style of it and the color, it's not even the color combination. It's more or less the style. It's almost got a Byzantine, Middle Eastern kind of look to it in the design. Well, I've only ever made one jacket, not entirely true. I have a jean jacket I have to put buttons on, yeah. So Julie wants to know where you find your fabrics for jackets. Basically, I've ordered stuff online from various places, and that was a while ago. That was a couple of years ago. I've bought fabric in Canada. I don't know if you're Canadian. There is a place called Water Tower Textiles, and I think they've changed the name, but I can't remember the name of it now, the new name. And there's a Simplify fabric, and there's for Jersey, it's Wazo Fabrics in Calgary. So I've bought them all online. I've never bought them from a local store. So
Like the F store.
like the F store.
Yeah. Which one of those is out of business here. Fabric Land. We call it the F store. Oh, Jackie says it's 99 Fahrenheit 37C in Phoenix. But that's not really unusual, is it? Because it's Phoenix, it's Arizona. I always associate Arizona with being very, very hot too. So I don't know. I don't know if that's unusual for the season or not. It's not so much here. It's actually very comfortable. What was it like?
21. It's 21 right now. It's about 70 degrees.
So what was it like when you went out to walk? Is it humid?
It's a little humid, but it's not bad. It's not. I went in my long pants, so it wasn't really too bad.
Were you wearing your sexy sock?
Yes, I was.
Oh, that's why you go when he's wearing long pants. You know he's got on his sexy sock.
I'm wearing a compression sock. So.
Yeah, has a little problem with his leg that stems from when he fell out of the hot tub one December and severed something important.
My patellar tendon.
Your who tendon?
My patellar tendon.
Patellar tendon. It's not. That's a magician. Peller and teller. Isn't it? Weren't they in Las Vegas?
I severed it, and it pushed my kneecap up about 6 inches, and because I wasn't there, I had to have it reattached. And then after I had it reattached, I had two subsequential blood clots after another.
So he has to wear a compression sock every now and then.
So I have poor blood flow in that. Like it's called a deep vein thrombosis that I have.
So one has to be careful about these things. Francis says, my mother made several Shillcraft hooked rugs for the family. I made a couple of pillow covers for a wedding gift. Wow, throwback to the 70s and 80s. Yeah, everybody back in the 70s and 80s was hooking. There was hookers everywhere. And Brenda, who's on here, our friend Brenda from Washington State, she's a hooker as well. So, but Brenda does everything. So, yeah, pole dance, hooker, whatever on that. Jackie says, a bit cooler than normal, predicting rain for tonight. Oh, so it's a little cooler in Arizona than normal. Wow. So that's something. Yeah, a lot of people go to Arizona from Canada that suffer from asthma, I think.
Yeah.
You always hear them say because the heat or something, the air is dry, no humidity. I don't know how true that is, but, or maybe they just use that as an excuse to go to Arizona. Never been to Arizona. Oh, Barb was a hooker too. A lot of hookers on here. What kind of channel do you think we're running here? Yeah, really. And I'm still hooking now. It's crochet. Yeah, I used to crochet. Actually, I tried about a few months ago. I thought I'd pick it up again, and I put it right back down. I've lost my taste for crocheting, but I did it for quite a few years. I did quite a lot of things in it. I made little Afghans, and I did really fine crochet. I used to do doilies. Like, okay, let's talk about decorating your house and old lady stuff, right? Let's throw doilies all over the place. But I made some very elaborate ones, but yeah, it's not my cup of tea anymore. It was 115, she says, last week out there. Gloria says, I too used to hook. I was a hooker too. All right, what have we started here? So how many of you charged money for your hooking? Just wondering what the going price is for that. Anyways, yeah. So Walter's told you what he's got planned and what's up to. So I'll show you just quickly. I showed this on So Chatty, so I don't need to dwell on it. But, you know, I have a captive audience, so I will. So this is the Underground Railroad quilt, the one that's the sampler that Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches has been doing as sew-alongs, and that's how come I found it. And I did this all as custom quilting. First time I've ever done custom quilting, and there are a few problems, and I think I pointed those. Oh no, I'll point those out on the Idiot Quilter this week. What I learned about using QuiltPath, a computerized program for doing custom quilting, and how bloody long it takes you as well. And then how Lucy decided to be uncooperative, and I found out something about how to fix Lucy. if this problem ever happens again. So I'll talk more about that on the Idiot Quilter this week. And this is also a Stephanie Stitches pattern. The other one wasn't one of her patterns, but it was a book, but she was doing a sew along with it. This one is her pattern. It's called Pinwheel Picnic. And she did this, some of you were there. She did this when she and Shannon did the virtual retreat, a month or so ago. And I finally got it finished, quilted. Walter doesn't believe that I purposely picked the quilting pattern to represent wind blowing the windmills. He just thinks I just picked a pattern. I had no plan whatsoever.
And yeah, I'm sure that's true.
It isn't. You're a liar. I do plan things out. Anyways, so let me get back to us. So those are things that I've been working on. And as Walter's already told you, actually Walter has a Stephanie Stitches pattern, and you've cut some of the fabric for it.
Yeah, the
rock candy.
Rock candy. Actually, I kind of was gonna take it down to Georgia with us and do it down there.
Have you got all your fabric cut?
I've done all the color pieces, but I need to do the background pieces.
Well, then you can put them all in a nice little box, all labeled. I have lots of those plastic project boxes like the ones behind you too, if you need a box to stuff it in. And then you can have it all nicely organized, and we can get out the little label maker and you can label, and call it Rock Candy Walter's Christmas Project. And yeah, that might be too organized for you. So, okay, so let us talk about coming events. All right. Last week we had sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, but we were sans Stephanie. We did not have Stephanie because Stephanie has been down, and I'm sure you have seen on her channel the great place she went to, Stitch in Heaven, in some place in Texas. I don't know what the name of the place was, but it's somewhere there. And
if you haven't, you should watch her video.
Yeah, you should. You've got to watch the video.
It is amazing.
That is the place. It's just. It boggles your mind. I mean, they always say everything's bigger in Texas. Well, this one certainly lives up to that reputation for sure. She was there. Rob Appel was there. And she said almost half of the people that were taking part in the retreat were men, which I find astounding. That means we are starting to take over, as we should, with it. But, you know, you don't usually have that many. You have one or two, but they almost had half. But it looks like great accommodation, great classroom with a kitchen as part of it as well. So, you know, it and there was an area where you could sit if you want to have a coffee, take a break from what you were doing, talk to some of the other people there, which is kind of nice because, you know, if you take your coffee over to your sewing area, you're risking, you know, or at least I do, of probably I will hit it and dump it all over my quilt, and my fabric now becomes vintage.
Yeah, I used to do that when I worked sometimes as a computer, as a programmer.
Oh, down your keyboard?
Yeah. I've had times where I dumped it all over my computer, so.
Yeah, so anyways, but it looked like a fantastic place to go for a retreat. And their store, oh my God, miles of fabric and anything you want. This is one big concern here. This is major business for sure. So maybe someday I'll get a chance to experience it in real life. We'll see. Never been to Texas. You have?
Many years ago. 1981, I think.
Oh God. Just before
Texas.
Just before
we were
in
Dallas. I was taking a course in Dallas for a computer course. And for the company that I worked for, they bought a package. It was I worked for an insurance company, and they bought a life insurance company, and they bought a package from this, a software package from this company based in Texas. And I was there learning about the software package. It was my boss. And there's a whole story.
Didn't the people your boss you went down to, didn't he want to go to a strip place?
Yeah, my boss was really heavily going to strip places. So went to a few strip places down there, and then we went to this place that was halfway between Dallas and Fort Worth because they took everything off. And so But that was really uncomfortable. I got him. We didn't stay there too long.
Yeah, like, ooh, no. No. Do not want to go to a strip place. No. Closest I ever came to a strip place.
I think there might have been some hooking going on.
Ew, well, okay. Maybe the other reason why you want to go there was he a married man?
He was a married.
Oh well,
married man, married pervert.
Oh well, what you do in Texas stays in Texas, I guess, or whatever. I do remember when I was in grade 13. Yes, that's how old I am. We had grade 13. And it was the last day of school before we graduated. And a bunch of us went to a local dive that was in our town. And of course, in those days, the drinking age was only 18. So some of us were actually legal. I was legal because I had turned 18 the summer of my last year of high school. And the other ones, if there was any that weren't legal, it didn't matter. They'd been drinking for years. So kind of a deal. I was a good boy. I didn't do that kind of thing. In fact, this was probably my first time ever being in probably a bar, per se. So I went with them, and we're in the part where they had strippers. Well, this place was a real dive, and they didn't have like girls all the time. It was more of a watering hole with an occasional stripper. Well, this lady came out. Well, lady. She wasn't the world's best beauty, I'm sure. She was, I don't know how old she was. I mean, I'm 18. Anybody like over 25 was an old person to me, so I don't know. So she comes in, and we're sitting at a long table, and there's a little area just sort of in behind us, and there's a orange crate on its edge, on a box, right? So she comes over. She's wearing sort of a diaphanous little, I don't know if you call it a negligee or something, a little see-through-y house coat, dressing gown. I don't know. She goes over, pushes the box in against sort of the wall, gets up on it, reaches up, and there is a light. It's just a light like what you'd find on the outdoor of a house, a really cheap one. There's a bulb in it. She's got a towel in her hand. She unscrews the light bulb, puts in a red light bulb up in there. That was her lighting. And then she gives a cue to somebody, and guy in the disc jockey or whatever he was, I also think he was the bartender and the floor sweeper all in one. That's how bad this place was. Turns on the music. She got up there. She did a couple of numbers. Stripped. She didn't strip like completely. She basically flashed more or less her upper part. I think at one point at the very end, at the climax of the whole thing, she sort of just peeled off what was left of the little thing she was wearing up there. So for a brief moment, you got like a, little frontal there, and then she threw it back on. They stopped the music. She grabs her little towel that was off to the side, unscrews the red light bulb, screwed in the regular light bulb, got off her little crate, and then she comes over to our table. And we were a mixed crowd. We had guys and we had girls. And she sees the girls. There's about 3 girls there. And she sits down next to the girls. And now one of the girls in that had a real wicked sense of humor. She was always extremely sarcastic. And she was sitting right next to her. And this stripper, she says to her, she's clutching her little diaphanous little robe thing. And she goes, "Oh, hi, ladies," she says. "I hope I didn't do anything that embarrassed you." Now, this girl, her name was Liz. She looks at her and goes, "Oh, don't you worry about a thing. There wasn't a thing. No, it was okay. Well, there was one little thing." But she says it's not worth mentioning. And this stripper says, "Oh, no, my dear, really." She says, I'd appreciate knowing what upset you." She goes, "Well," she says, "there was one little thing. You took off all your clothes." I felt so sorry for the hook, or for the stripper kind of thing. And she got a little red in the face. She goes, well, okay, well, nice meeting you folks. And off she trundled. And that's the only time in my life I've ever been to a female stripper. So never saw one of those. You notice I used the word female. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, well, when the groups that I hung around with at work, that was a common thing. You used to like going to one. A bunch of them at work used to like going to one at lunchtime because the food was cheap.
Yeah, I went there for lunch too when I was a a university student. I used to work in a local factory that was not far from this bar, and sometimes on a Friday at lunch, the guys in my department, I worked in inventory control, would go there for lunch because it was cheap. There wasn't any strippers happening there, but they went and they had lunch. It was a buffet. And I remember going with them once and went, what is this? I think I just saw it move. But they thought it was okay. So catching up here. Oh, Kim's here from Nova Scotia. Hi, Kim. Em is here. France says, fun fact, I'm in rural Nevada where prostitution is legal. I work in a body shop, collision repair. Thank God you qualified that. Our neighbors are 2 brothels and a massage parlor. Body shop part of town. Pick your body. Okay, well, that's interesting. Laurel's here from Hawaii. Hello, Laurel. Yes, Barb, Stitch in Heaven is quite the place.
Yeah, it's in Quitman,
That's
Texas.
That's Quitman.
Which is, I don't know how many miles out, but it's east of Dallas.
Okay. Lewis says hello from Plymouth Rock, one of our original pilgrims. He's been here many times before. Dalmar says, I love making rock candy. I donate to a wonderful charity at Rosebud's Cafe that feeds the homeless in the town of Jackson, California. Well, that was nice. Actually, I was looking for that pattern because I thought I had bought it from Stephanie's site, and I was sort of thinking, oh, maybe I'll do that next project. And I remember no, Walter had it. So Walter's doing it. I'm not going to do it if he's doing it. Because I don't want to be in competition. I don't want to make him feel pressured. No, the reality of it is he'll make it, I'll have made it, and then mine won't work out as well as his did, and that'll be that. Because that's usually how it works. I'm not setting myself up for a fall. Marilyn says, hello, Marilyn. I watched Stephanie's video twice. It was so interesting. Wow, that place is huge. Yes, it was. Jackie just ordered some fabric for seasonal table runners. The plan is to cut them up and stitch them after my move next summer. Okay. Judy says, I watched Stephanie's video. That place looked amazing. Everybody watched Stephanie's video. Good. And if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. No, Kim said she lived in Texas for a few years. Okay.
Americans seem to move around a lot.
Yeah, they do. More so than Canadians. Well, Kim's not American. She's Canadian. She's from Nova Scotia. Oh, okay. That's Kim in the embroidery stuff. Okay, yeah. Kim Walter Kim. Yeah. Oh, Mona's here. She's a little late. Had a rescue to deal with earlier. Okay. So, all right. So anyways, back to sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. So Stephanie will be here this Wednesday. I won't be. Because, okay, I hear the big cheer and the applause. Stop it. Stop it, you nasty people. I won't
be. Good, they can talk behind your back.
Oh, they do. If they talked in front of my face, it doesn't really matter whether I'm there or not. It's okay. I have broad shoulders. We are going into Toronto to the Royal Ontario Museum because the Royal Ontario Museum is having a special quilt show on Wednesday. Quilts from their archives that they've had stored there. So these are not quilts from this era. They're, I don't know how far back they go. Didn't even know they had a collection. But apparently they're bringing them out in the light, and they're the stories that they tell and everything like that. So we're going on Wednesday, and we're going with a couple of people, a couple of ladies that Walter sews with from his sewing group as well. So that should be an interesting day. So I won't be on Stephanie and Stephen. However, this is important. There is a link in the show notes for this today when it goes to air, when the replay is there, and it's a different link than the link we usually use for sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. I don't want to get into the technical details why we had to do it that way, but we had to do it that way because of the way Zoom subscriptions work. So Stephanie has established a new link for Wednesday, for this Wednesday only. You'll find it on her channel. I think she puts it in her About section. You'll find it in the show notes today for this, and you'll find it in the show notes for the Idiot Quilter and my vlog this week as well. So it's there. But it is different from the other one. So we'll go back to the other one the following week. So just so you know. Brenda, Lynn, did you people write this down? Because I know you're going to hit the wrong link. I do. Just saying. Rewind. I'm going to be able to join sewing with Stephen and Stephanie all day, and Stephen won't be around. Now I'm depressed. Well, Russ, maybe you can strike a deal with Stephanie. It could be sewing with Stephanie and Russ for that day, because I know you're on holidays, Russ. So there you go.
We could probably pop in.
Well, we might pop in at some point. We'll see how that works. But we won't be sewing. Denise says, thanks for the short visit. We'll catch up with the replay. Okay, Denise, thanks for coming. Donna is here. Hello, Stephen Walter. Yous are funny. Love all your video. Happy to catch yous live. Okay, yous. New word. Okay, Donna. Well, I'm glad you did, Donna. So, that's Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. Pop-up sew day that we had back a couple of weeks ago. Next one, not sure. I'm hoping to have another one before August is done. Probably be closer to the end of the month. Haven't figured that out yet. As soon as I do, I'll let you know. Now, advance warning. I have lined up my guest presenters for my fall retreat. The date is, I believe it is October the 15th. Here, Secretary, could you look that date up to see if that's on a Saturday after Thanksgiving? And when I say after Thanksgiving, I mean Canadian Thanksgiving. Ours always falls in October. I know Americans falls at the end of November, but I'm talking Canadian Thanksgiving. So I believe the date will be August the 15th. That's what I'm anticipating right now.
October?
Yeah.
That's a Tuesday.
Oh, so it's not October the 15th. So it must be the
12th?
The 12th, because I think Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving Monday is the 7th.
No, it's the 14th.
Oh. That's not what I looked up.
It says October 2024.
You
sure it was this year?
Yeah, I was pretty sure. But just let me go into Google here. Canadian Thanksgiving.
Monday, October 14th. It's right there.
Oh, okay. So that won't be the date. That date, so it may be either earlier, it may be October the 5th, or it may be October the 19th is when it'll happen. But you'll know in advance. Just know that it'll be sometime in October. But there'll be more details. Probably I'll start sending out stuff about it come the first week in September or the last week in August, whichever on that. Just advance notice because it fills up quickly. And yes, for any of you that have never been to one of my retreats, I have one in the spring, one in the fall, and they're free. They're absolutely free, but you do have to register for them just in order to save your spot, because I only can accommodate about 96 people. I know that sounds like a lot, but it always fills up, and it always fills up within about 2 days.
Yeah, you must have been looking at 2023.
Oh, okay.
Because it was Thanksgiving was the 9th, and Saturday's 14th.
All right. So anyways, but I will finalize that well in advance. So those of you that want to attend will know what the exact date is, so you can plan ahead for it. Okay. This week, there's possibility, it isn't a for sure thing, there may be a social review that we usually have once a month that involves the Fab Five, Stephanie, Russ, Shannon, Walter, and I. But Walter and I, because it would fall on the Wednesday, may not be home in time for it. We're going into Toronto, getting out of Toronto. We're taking what's called the GO train. The GO train is a commuter train from here, from where we live, to Toronto. And it will probably be close to rush hour. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's rush hour, it's just nuts in downtown Toronto.
So we
And
might make it back in time.
yeah,
We're not sure.
we're not sure yet. We do not have a link for it yet up. So it may happen, it may not happen. We're not really sure about it. It isn't solely dependent upon Walter and I. There are 3 other people involved in this too. So just there it is. You may see it, you may not. There may be one, there may not. A lot of may nots right now, or maybes. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it depends on what the other participants decide.
On what they decide. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they could run it perfectly all right without us. We won't be hurt much, but that's okay. Um, looking here to see. Okay, everything's the same. All right. So that's announcements. Okay. This week's So Chatty, if you have seen it already, you know that we have been working on a series about Serger. And this week I showed you the napkin thing. I had a little problem with the video. I didn't realize it, but a couple of people wrote a comment and said there was something missing in the video. Anyways, I didn't see that it was missing anything, but I redid the video. I took that one down and I recompiled it, made sure everything was there, and I put it back up. So some of you might wonder why you got another notification about the same video. It's the newer version of it. Sorry about that, but this kind of stuff happens at times.
Melissa, it's Shannon's turn to host the VAP5.
Yeah, Shannon's turn this time to host that, Melissa. So somebody wrote a comment, and and I can't remember who it was, but they were asking me a question in there, and then I deleted that video, and so I lost the comment. But what the comment wanted to know, they had a chance to purchase a 15,000. They called it a 1500, but I think they meant the 15,000 Janome embroidery machine. And those of you that have been here for a while know that I used to own one of those, and I had like endless problems with it, and she wanted to know what all the problems were they had with it and blah blah blah, and I'm not going over that again. That's a time in my life I do not want to remember. But I have a playlist of all the videos I made during that time when I was having problems with it. And so if you're one of those people who was looking for that, all you have to do is go into my playlist section of my channel, and you'll find one that says Janome 15,000, and that has all the videos that will show you all the problems that I had and what I did to try and solve the problems and everything like that. So if that person sees this or is listening or is here, you'll find it all there. Okay. Yesterday we went off to a little town east of us, Port Hope, because they had an arts festival and we wanted to do something. So we went. And I do have a picture of what it looked like. I'll just put it up here. How do I put it mildly? It was sad. It had, okay, I don't understand people who make jewelry, go to these craft fairs, and there's like 50 of them there all making jewelry, how they make any money. Because I don't know how.
Well, they must make some, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it, right?
There was one stall where it was kind of unique. They made bracelets out of old film strips or film negatives or something like that. That was kind of neat. But anyways, there wasn't that many vendors. In fact, what you're looking at is there's a few more than this in this picture, but that was about it.
It was a nice drive.
It was a nice drive, yeah. And the whole of this little town, it's called Port Hope, is under construction. The whole downtown main drag shopping district, and it's not a very big town, is totally
I forgot to tell you, I looked it up.
Oh yeah.
The infrastructure downtown, the sewer systems and all that are being replaced because they're over 100 years old and not doing so well.
Well, that's not unlike almost every town and city in Ontario.
Supposedly they'll be done by November.
Oh, I don't know, maybe, but a lot of the businesses are closed because of it.
Well, some have gone out of business.
And some of them have gone out of business as well.
Because they probably figure they won't be done by November. And if they're not done by November, that screws their Christmas shopping time and stuff too.
Yeah. So anyways, feels kind of sorry for them because this little town, it's a very quaint little place.
It's where the It series was filmed.
Oh, yeah. What?
The one with the clown?
Oh, the Stephen
King thing or whatever.
Yeah. Well, they do a lot of filming in that town because it's got one of those turn of the century, and I don't mean this past century, I mean the century before, kind of look to it and everything like that. But anyways, it was something to do. And, well, it took us longer to get there than the time we spent there with it. But on my vlog tomorrow, I did capture some of it on video, so I'll be playing that video so you can get another sense of it as well with all of that. So let's see. Linda says the 15,000 question was me. Ah, okay. Thanks, Darren. I'll check out your previous videos. Yeah, my blunt answer to your question though about buying one is I would avoid it, quite frankly. They don't even make that machine anymore. They replaced it with their big super deluxe M17. And you've heard us talk on our videos about, combination embroidery and sewing machines and just compounds your problems. And
well, you had a problem with that machine from day one.
Yeah.
And but most of the time it was okay until one time the timing went out.
Yep.
And once the timing went out, it just never
Yep, recovered. And I took it in several times. It even went to head office in New Jersey or something, and supposedly they fixed it. It came back within 10 minutes of using it. It was just doing what it went in for repair for. I went through so many bobbin cases because it was destroying them. And
then the owner, after as a last resort, traded him in with a brand new machine, which was her floor model of it, and it worked for a while, but then after a little while it started causing him problems again.
And there was another lady in the store who had one before I did, and she works in the store now. And I would say to her, have you ever had this problem with that? Nope, mine works fine the whole bit. Then we found out, no, it didn't work fine. And then she had some other problems with it too. So I would say don't waste your money, Linda. But you check out the videos. You make up the decision for yourself.
I mean, there's lots of people that say they didn't have any problems with them. But then I don't know how much they use them.
I am a power user, as you well know. I don't abuse my machines, but I certainly put them through their paces. So, if you're an occasional embroiderer, which so many people that get embroidery machines really don't take the full advantage of what an embroidery machine can do. And we have a series on that we did on So Chatty back several months ago. You may never have a problem with it. If you're just putting a monogram on a towel.
You were having a problem with your timing went out when you were trying to do quilting on a quilt and on it. And then that's what something happened where it caused your timing to go out. And then after that, it was like they were able to fix it, the timing, but the embroidery never worked right after that.
No, and it was just endless. I went through over $500 worth of bobbin cases. They're like $40 a pop. So do the math. Yeah, on that. So anyways, yeah, I have bad memories of the 15,000, and I hope nobody ever has to go through what I went with it.
Patsy says she's never had any problem with hers, so
there you are. I've had mine since its inception, and knock on wood, I've been very pleased with them. And luck of the draw. Also, Patsy, I don't know what you...
Linda says she's not buying it. Her sister inherited it from her mother.
Oh, she doesn't use it. My mother... Okay, well, if it's a freebie, yeah, go for it. You've nothing lost on that case then. And like Patsy says...
She's had prime.
Hers is fine. No problems. I would dare say, Patsy, that you are not a power user, and I don't mean that as an insult. I just mean nobody is as much of a user as I am on them. I guarantee you that. With it, I've done everything and more that you can do on an embroidery machine. So, but I'm happy that you're not having a problem with it, because I don't wish that on anybody. And Linda, if it's a freebie, go for it. Go for it. But do watch the videos, okay? Donna says, yes, that is so true. I'm still learning mine. Wish I could find someone to help me with mine. Yeah, well, if you got it at a reputable dealer, they should be able to provide you with, I mean, our dealer, every machine she sells, oops, thumbs up, every machine that she sells, sewing machine, embroidery machine, comes with lifetime free lessons. If you have a problem, if you don't know how to do something, you can make arrangements to go in and they will show you how to do it.
In fact, our owner is quite good in that she would, if you own one of the Xiaomi machines and you go in and ask her about a question about it, she's probably willing to show.
And she's not just a dealer, she's a trained technician as well. She's taken the courses from Janome for all of that stuff. So she knows that of which she speaks too. We're lucky. That's why we deal with her. That's why we have Janome machines, because she's in our town. I mean, I know that other people don't have that luxury. It's hard to find probably someone maybe in your area. And so, you know, that's a problem. But
Robert's asking you if you have any experience with long arm designs from OESD.
Yes and no. With that, Robert, I don't usually buy long arm designs from OESD. I have a few. I used one, and actually we talked about this on So Chatty the other day. I find that their stitching in them is a little bit more intense in the designs. They're more like an embroidery than they are a long arm pattern. But
so where do you buy your patterns
I buy
from?
mine from several different places. One is Urban Elements. I buy from, and Elements is spelled with a Z at the end. There's another couple of places. I can't remember. Stephanie put me on to one that I've bought a few from them. I can't remember the name now. Darn. But and Stephanie's not on here today because she's probably flying back home as we speak. But if you just do a search, you will find other places. I mean, the OESD ones are probably fine, but I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever tried any of them on my long arm. And I know that when you put them on your embroidery machine, they have really tiny little stitches, which could cause you a problem on a long arm. I'm not sure. Don't know for certain. That's all I know. Oh, Donna has a Brother Dream machine. Oh, she thinks though she bought the wrong machine. Oh. There's a lady has a YouTube channel, has had one for a long time. She has one of those machines, or she did have. I don't know if she still uses it. I can't think of what her name is. She does a lot of the design. I know. Anita Good Designs. She's a sort of an ambassador for them. The machine she had, she used to call it McDreamy, and that was I think the same machine that you're talking about. She loved it. And she's Canadian. Used to watch her. I don't anymore. Can't think of her name at all. But anyways, Walter's trying to look it up. So anyways, you saw in the title talking about Karens. I am sorry for those of you that are on here and your name is Karen. Okay? Remember, it has nothing to do with you personally. It's however this term got put out there. You know, about these are your busybodies in the world who know everything and get into your face. Well, I had a Karen experience at Costco. I'm partially to blame. Okay, what are you doing?
I was trying to find this lady that, but
I can't remember her name.
Was it she was using a dream machine?
Yeah, look up McDreamy on it.
I did. I get all these sex ads.
Oh. Look up on YouTube. Do a search in YouTube for Anita Good Designs, because she probably has it meta tagged for that. Anyways, what happened was this. We were in Costco the other day, and you know how on every end of all the aisles, Costco's always giving out food samples, right, for products that they have. And there are always these people that flock to it, and I swear, do these people not get lunch at
Diane
home?
Griffiths?
No, that's not her. Do these people not eat at home or what? It's like they're all coming down, they flock in, they block.
Heirloom Creations?
No. You're starting to piss me off.
Okay.
Read that. Doesn't mean you're number one.
It's
not that. It's not
here.
that.
Okay, well,
It's
anyway.
not that. I don't know. Come to me at some point in time. Anyways,
Well,
Sue Brown. Oh, Donna says Sue Brown is her name. Yes, that's the one. OML embroidery. That's it, Melissa. Right there. There you go. She's the one that has the McDreamy machine, or did have. I don't know if she still does or not. Anyways, so Costco, food, samples, people, blocking aisles. Always that. You can't get around because they're all there. Now, I have an expression, I've used it for years. Piggies at the trough. Okay?
You usually just says it to me or whatever.
Yeah, I just say it out. Well, I tried to get down one of the aisles.
Yeah, there was an aisle where I wanted crackers. And
it's Walter's fault.
It's my fault. And there were all these people standing at the end of the aisle with their carts. And they're all starting having a conversation with each other, too. Waiting for their sample to
get
the
fresh
cooked.
batch to come out of the little microwave.
I don't even recall what the sample was. But anyway, and they're waiting for it to be cooked. And it's just this conglomerate of carts and everything else. And Steve went up and said, "Excuse me."
Well, I had to get through to get down that aisle. There was, and it was a busy day at Costco. So you know what that's like. I mean, you're taking your life in your own hands. You probably will get run over by a shopping cart by somebody, or one of those, the people who get into the little wheeled things and like think they're on a raceway and are zipping down the aisle and running over small children. I don't have a problem with that.
Steve says, "Excuse me," and nobody moved.
Nobody moved.
And they were just like oblivious.
So
right?
I started to walk.
No, then you said, "Excuse me," louder.
Well, yeah, I did. I started to walk and says, "Excuse me, can I get through here?"
And you had to push your way through.
And I had now. He's making it sound like I went through like a bulldozer. I did not.
No. You were trying to.
I was trying to wiggle my way around them. I wasn't touching anything. I wasn't pushing anybody or shoving. Okay? I wasn't yelling. I wasn't screaming. I just said, "Excuse me," and I'm coming through. "Excuse me," kind of a thing. Sorry. And this older gentleman who's pushing a cart, says to his wife, he says, "Oh, we're kind of blocking the aisle here to him." So he's trying to get out. And there's literally the shopping carts are all mashed together. And these people have seen these other people. "Oh, hi, how are you?" And are oblivious to everything else around them as they wait for their little hot hors d'oeuvres. Okay. So as I got through, I said, and I probably said it in a little bit louder voice than I normally would because I was frustrated. I was a little bit angry about this.
You were coming through back the other way with my box of crackers.
Yeah.
And
you tell this.
You were about halfway between the carts and me. And you said in probably a little louder voice than you normally do, "Piggy's at the trough."
I said, "Piggy's at the trough." And then off we went. I didn't stop, and I wasn't really directing it to anybody in particular. It's just an expression. It's almost an automatic thing that I say. Piggy's at the trough.
We've said it for years.
We have said it for years. It's one of those kind of expressions you just say. It's an automatic thing.
And then you chuckle. And
you're right. So we're going down another aisle away from this. This woman comes up to me and goes, "You are very, very rude." I'm talking to me. Are you talking to me? Look, I'm looking at her.
Then he turns around and she says, "I heard you say."
"I heard you say, call it Piggy's at the trough. That is very rude. That is not very gentlemanly." I saw red. She triggered me. The Karen triggered me. And I went, first of all, I said to her, "None of your business what I'm saying or whatever. It wasn't directed at anybody in particular." "Well, you're rude. And that's not what a gentleman does." And, you know, if I'd been a little bit calmer, I have all kinds of things afterwards I thought of how I could have handled this. I admit, I did not handle this well at all. But she was right in my face about this. So I got angry. I looked at her and I says, why don't you just fuck right off, bitch? I don't think she expected that. And she pursued. She starts backing up. I wasn't moving towards her. At least I had enough common sense not to make any kind of threatening physical move on her. Not that I would, but, you know. And besides, she might have had a big, huge, hairy husband that was 7 feet tall and 5,000 pounds, and he'd crush me. But I was furious. And I probably had the look on my face that used to scare kids and make them crap their pants in school. The fire was probably coming out of my eyes. So she persisted. Well, a gentleman doesn't do this and that. And I said, what I meant to say was, and you're no lady, so why should I be a gentleman? But what came out was, well, you're no woman, kind of thing. And then she's carrying on, and I just turned around. Look, like I said before, fuck off, bitch. And I turned my back and put my hand behind my back and put my finger up. Can't see it. Behind my back on this. Well, off she tootled. I don't think she expected that. Again. We didn't see her again. I don't expect that she thought she was going to get that reaction. But here's the problem. Okay, I will admit, right up the bat, one, I shouldn't have said piggies at the trough loud enough that other people could hear it. Okay? My bad. My mistake. Two, I should not have handled this situation when she got in my face in that way. That wasn't the right way to handle it. But she triggered me. I'm not responsible for my actions when I get triggered, okay? I have a temper. And she kicked right in there with it. But here's the problem. What did she think I was going to do when she came up and said, you're a rude man?
She was very aggressive.
Very aggressive. And that also is a trigger for me. You don't tell me what I can do and what I can't do.
I've learned that enough times.
Yeah, it's a trigger. Okay, there was a nicer way to put it. She could have come up and said to me, excuse me, sir, but I overheard your comment, and really, I think that might have been inappropriate. Now, if she had come to me with that kind of tone, I would have said, oh, I am so sorry. And I would have said to her, that's just an expression we use. I didn't really mean for anybody to hear it. I didn't mean any harm by it or anything like that. I'm so sorry. But that's not. She got in my face. She became aggressive. Was aggressive. And right in it. So, of course, my brain is not kicking into a logical way of handling it, right? So anyways, even though I said that and other people may have heard it, and I don't know who else heard it.
Yeah, there wasn't really anybody else in the aisle, and I don't know who else heard it,
But she was also one of the piggies at the trough. She was one of the people blocking the aisle. And I think she was upset with me before I even said that because I was trying to get through them. Even though I was being polite when I was trying to get my way through, you know, excuse me. I think that bothered her. And I think what triggered her was when I said piggies at the trough because she realized she was blocking the aisle and she was a piggy at the trough. Kind of a thing.
Yeah, I don't know if she was in that group or not. Only person I saw was the guy who said, oh, we're blocking the aisle and we got to move out of the way.
He realized what was going on, that they were kind of blocking the aisle because I wasn't the only person trying to get through.
Yeah, like I was ready to go around the aisle, but it was... but it annoyed me that they were standing and it was like a blockade, right?
And it was compounded on other things. Costco was busy. There was lots of piggies at all of the troughs there.
And yes, no, that's not a Canadian saying.
No, that's not a Canadian
saying. That's sort of a made your own saying.
Yeah, actually, a friend of mine many years ago was the first person I ever heard who said piggies at the trough. We were at something and it was a buffet.
Yeah.
And I thought that was hilarious, and I picked it up and I've used it ever since with it. So, yeah, I was already ripe for this kind of thing.
Yeah, it was very busy. It was annoying.
It was hard to get around people that day. People, what annoys me at Costco, anyway, even not just the ones that they are at the end of the aisles, some people decide to stop their cart, even though the aisles are wide, they stop their cart in the middle of the aisle, right? Or they'll end up talking to somebody else in the middle of an aisle, and you can't get around them.
No. They're all oblivious to the fact that there's other people shopping and trying to get through. And when you're in a grocery store and they do this, I don't know if your grocery stores in your area are the way ours are, but the aisles have become narrower and narrower, and there's only enough room for one shopping cart to go down. If two of you are coming, somebody has to pull over to the side to let the other person through. And if they've got two carts and they go, "Oh, Madge, what you been doing? I haven't seen you in a long time. Let's catch up." Why don't you two have lunch somewhere else and catch up? Because you're blocking the aisle. And when you do go up to them and trying to get through, and you go, and this happens to me all the time. And I'm sorry, and this is going to sound sexist, but it's always women. It's always the ladies. They're having this conversation. And when I very politely, I'll stand there and wait for a second to see if they'll notice that I'm there and I'm trying to get through. They never do. And they keep on blapping, and they're miles away from whatever's happening there. They don't know. They're on another planet. And then that's when I say, "I'm sorry, excuse me." And they give me this look like I've just said to them, "Well, fuck off, bitch." Kind of a deal. All I'm doing is trying to get through with my cart. Like I'm just, I'm being polite about it. But anyways, so.
Well, Melissa, no, she wasn't large. She was sort of a medium size. I mean, like not skinny, but not like
She
heavy.
was put together.
Yeah.
She had nice designer glass frames on. She had her hair done. Like, she did not look like trailer trash. Okay? Till she opened her mouth. But, I mean, no, she looked like a very respectable lady. But she's a Karen. Because I have a feeling that she probably takes it upon herself to correct people's behavior on a regular basis. You know the type, right? There's always some like that in there. And I'm sorry. Think of me what you will think of me, but I will not be corrected. I am 67 years old. You're not going to change my personality. You're not going to change my habits. You're not my wife. You're not my mother. You're not my sister.
Yeah, she was basically scolding Steve for saying something inappropriate.
You bad, rude boy. Bad. Yeah. With it. So, yeah. I know she wasn't I'm sure I've given her all kinds of fodder for the next time she has a dinner party. Well, Gladys, you'll never guess what happened to me. I met this rudest man.
I'm surprised I didn't see it on Nextdoor.
Yeah, probably. A rude man at Costco. Beware. Whatever. But yeah. But that just got me. Well, what are people saying here before I go on? Oh, Candace says, really, what was her point in approaching you? To belittle or scold you like a child? Yes, that's what it is. And, if I had been if I could be the type of person that can be very calm in a situation like that, I would have said, "I'm sorry, what would you like me to do about it?"
Well, she did sort of approach him like in a very aggressive manner.
Oh, she marched straight up.
And she scolded him. Yeah, she did.
Mm-hmm.
So
she was right in my face.
I was standing there with a cart, and she was like
mostly cowering. He does that. Out. He does that if I'm involved in a scene. He pushing the cart away, kind of a thing. Chicken.
I was a little shocked. Actually, for me, I'm not very quick on my feet for that, but I was kind of in shock at when she said that.
Well,
I could see somebody getting upset at Piggy's at Trough.
Yeah.
But for somebody to approach Steve the way she did was a little bit extreme.
I'm not going to pretend that I'm absolutely innocent in this situation. I'm not. In fact, I'm a little embarrassed. I didn't know whether I should bring it up today, but you know me, You know everything about me, because I tell everything. Okay. And I felt bad about it when she first approached me. I felt bad about it afterwards. I felt bad about what I had said. I felt bad about how I handled the situation with her and the whole bit. I felt bad about myself for doing it. I brought it I can blame them blocking the aisle. I can come up with 100 different reasons why I was right and she was wrong. But that's me rationalizing it. The bottom line is I handled the situation badly from the beginning. But what I am saying is she's a Karen, and that's what Karens do. They get in your face. The world has to revolve around them and their way of perceiving it. Those of you that have been on one of my pop-up sew days or sewing with Stephanie and Stephen know what it means when we mention Margaret. Okay, and those that you don't, I'm not going to go over it. Someone else can tell you, but we had somebody that, even though her name was Margaret, she was a Karen. And she really hurt somebody's feelings. And it wasn't me she attacked. She attacked one of the people that was on our pop-up sew day. And she had no right to do that. And she really hurt that person emotionally. So, yeah. So I am a little sensitive to that kind of stuff when it happens as well. But I just need to learn how to, well, I'll never learn. I've always had a hot temper. I can be triggered, and if I'm triggered, that's it.
Usually it's me that triggers them.
And he's still living.
And I still don't learn.
And sometimes he just does it on purpose, just for
it's usually at the self-checkout.
Yeah, that's a trigger. Don't get me at going with that one. Let's see what people. Backing up here, everything's going by very quickly. Jackie says, my dad would have said something worse than that. Yeah, well, I just did a vlog on being a cranky old man, so I guess that's part of my mystique there. Karen says, I've never heard the expression. Okay, we talked about that. Yeah, I don't know what the point was of her approaching me, except to make herself feel superior. And Karen says, not to be mistaken with the term, Karen, I feel like they started being rude, not moving in the first place. Yeah, well, I feel that way too, but I'm not happy with the way I handled it. And Karen says, I don't tolerate family reunions at any store. It's rude. Well, I don't know if they were a family. I think they were just people who just run into each other.
I mean, I've met people in a store before and started a conversation, but I've always moved over to the side to make sure that I was in a spot where I wasn't blocking people.
Yeah. Well, like Candace says, I hate the sample areas. It always causes congestion. People speed so fast through the main aisle, you take your life in your own hands when you try to get in the main aisle. Yes, they do. They do. And, it gets compounded when there's kids running around in there and there's older people who, aren't moving maybe as fast as the younger ones are going. And then, of course, you get those carts that the wheelchairs or whatever those things, scooters, and they're all ripping around. You do take your life into your own hands. So I know why Costco does this. It sells product, right? But I actually wonder if someone did a statistic, how many of those actual sample things people actually do buy. I swear there are people there that go in for lunch.
But you're not getting much from those. No. I was reading some blog or something the night after when this occurred, and there are a lot of people online complaining about congestion in Costco due to those free samples and that. And some people are saying, I don't even bother, and we don't usually either. No. We don't bother with the free samples usually because it's just you're not getting much, and you're just getting a taste. The only time I might take a free sample is if it's something I might think I might buy.
Yeah.
but most of the time not.
No. And I swear that, like I said, you see people running around there and they go to every one of them. And they will stand. This is what gets my goat, too. They will stand there and wait for a fresh batch to come out.
And that's what was occurring
Yeah,
to this.
that's
But
what was happening there.
I honestly don't know what the sample was.
No, I don't know what they were. I don't pay attention to them.
I just know that they were waiting for a fresh batch to be made.
And so I don't know. It must have been something really yummy. I don't know. Whatever. But became social. Sue says, sounds like you would get along with Bad Margaret. Oh, I wouldn't get along with Bad Margaret. I've already dealt with Bad Margaret.
Bad Margaret was, she wasn't the lady that she was complaining about. She wasn't doing it the way she thought it should be. She was, well, anyway.
Margaret K says, whoa, I'm not bad. That's Sue Northfleet. You're not the Margaret we're talking about, I don't think. Unless you're Margaret from out west, Canadian, and you're Dutch background. And if you are, how the hell did you get on this today? Because you've been banned from my site. So I don't think it's you. Am says, I like Karen Walker in my life, Will and Grace. Yeah, well, she's a Karen. And I think that's where the term Karen comes from. I think that's why it's coined. Right? They use that character. Karen Cox says, when I go to the Berlin retreat next year, should I change my name? No, you can keep it. Just be warned.
Actually, my niece is named Karen.
Yeah.
I said to her one time, I said, does that bug you?
Yeah, really. Hi, Susan. My mom used to do, KW says, my mom used to do samples and she had to take before and after inventory to show how much she sold. It would be interesting to know. Obviously, they must be selling enough that they continue the practice. So, yeah. And she would get along with Bad Margaret. Yeah. Actually, I have a feeling this lady that was there is probably worse than that, Margaret. No, I'm from ND. I knew I wasn't bad. Yeah, okay. If that's okay, Margaret. The other Margaret can't get on here. I blocked her. Yeah, that's how bad the situation was that time. But anyways, this made me also think about where else do you see Karen behavior? Okay. Sorry, all the Karens out there that your name is Karen. Okay. Like YouTube. Okay. And I'm going to give you a real live example that just happened a couple of days ago. I told you I made a mistake on the video that I put up for So Chatty. Somehow in my editing, something went awry, and I didn't realize that it happened. There was one person, instead of approaching me in a nice way, wrote a nasty comment. Well, you were going to do this and that, and it didn't happen. It's not there. It's all mixed up. Something to that effect. Okay. And didn't write one comment, wrote another comment. And referred to me in the third person. He said he was going to do this, and he didn't. Excuse me, who died and left you my God? Because it wasn't you, bitch. So when a couple of other people, those told me they thought there might have been a mistake. They were very nice about it. And one of them, I'll give you an example of a good way to approach it when a YouTube content creator screws up. Let's remember, people, the content on YouTube isn't costing you a penny. It's free. All right. Also remember, you don't have to watch that which you don't want to watch or that you have a problem with. You don't have to subscribe. No one twists anybody's arm for these, okay? So it behooves you not to be, if you do find something that there's a problem with, as content creators, we appreciate knowing that because sometimes it can slip by us. But there's a nice way and a not so nice way to approach us. So this person approached the problem in a nice way. They said, sorry to be stupid, but I can't find Stephen's cutwork napkin video. Please help. Thank you for all your videos. When I'd see that, I went, uh-oh, I've screwed up. I'd go in, check for it, and correct it. That was nice of that person. In fact, that person didn't have to say something like, sorry to be stupid. Okay? They didn't need to say that. But what they are doing.
Well, they could have said also is, I think you might have made a mistake with
Yeah.
the video.
Yeah.
I can't find this in there.
Yeah, like, you know, let me know there's a mistake, but don't turn around and jump all over my head because of it. Mistakes happen, right? So that's the kind of comment. I do appreciate it when people mention to me, I think there might be a problem. Oh, and I investigate it, and if there is a problem, I correct it. That's okay. But this other person decided she wanted to jump all over my bloody head about it. She's a Karen. Okay? So, anyways, Patsy says, just try to name Patsy. I'm the butt of most jokes. Yeah. Susan says, as I was taught, if you have nothing kind to say, don't say anything. Yeah, true with it. But there's rude people. Like, I was rude. I was called a rude person. And I'm going to admit, there are times when I do have a nature that could be seen as rude on it. It depends on who you are, what you consider to be rude. Rude has a lot of meaning, right, to it, a lot of different definitions. But we've already talked about the rude ones in the stores who block the aisles, who decide that this is their time to have a major conversation and not let anybody else go through. Red Rover, we're coming through. And I'm going to plow you under. But, you know, that kind of thing. Or other rude ones in the store. And you know this one. This is one of my major pet peeves. The express line in a grocery store. The sign very clearly says 8 items or whatever number or less. Then you get the person that's got 10 or 12 items. What part of 8 items or less do you not understand? The rude me would like to say, excuse me, 1, did you not graduate past grade 2? Can you not read? Can you not do math? Can you not count? You have 10 fingers. I expected at least you could count up to 10. I think these things. I do not say them. And I'm sorry. 2, individual green peppers do not count as one item. If they're in a package, they do. Okay? But what's rude about that is the express line is supposed to be so people can get in, get out fast. They're buying only a couple of items. They're on their way, whatever. They're late for dinner, late for a meeting, whatever. You're holding them up. That is.
Yeah, well, what other also annoys me is if there's like 2 cash registers open out of a series of 6, right? And one's the express line, and the other one's lined up
for 3 miles.
3 miles, and then what ends up happening is the express line cashier will take in full carts because they
to get people through faster.
But then that screws up the people that only have 1 or 2 items.
Yeah. So that in itself is a rude action. I get why the salesperson, why the person working in the store might do that. But then some people take advantage of it. They think no one's going to notice that they have all these items. They push the cart up and away they go. They pull them all on. No. It says, you know, these are the same type of people who believe that rules are made for other people, not for them. That they have an exemption to the rules. They are Karens. They are Karens.
I mean, I've often in a lineup in a regular grocery store, and there's like a person that gets behind me with 3 items, say, well, why don't you go ahead because you've got less items and I've got all the time in the world. So
yeah. So, you know, and that's being the opposite of rude. That's being nice. You know, like do it. I've done that too. I've had a couple of items, or I have maybe the limit, okay? Or I'm standing in a regular line, okay? And I've got a cart full of stuff. It's not an express line, it's the regular one, but there's a guy behind me because the express lane isn't open or whatever, has 2 things. And I go, do you want to go ahead of me? You know, because, and sometimes I say, well, I'm not in any rush. I can wait. And I said, well, it's okay. I mean, I've got all the time in the world. We do that at Costco because Costco doesn't have an express line.
Well, they have the self-checkout.
Well, now they have the self-checkouts as well. But that's still not, it's not express.
Yeah. Because you get somebody that's never used one of those before, and they might only have 3 items, but it may take them 3 hours to figure out how to use the system. One thing I'll say for Costco, though, they have people manning those, watching, and run right over if anybody needs help or if they anticipate they're going to need help, which I think is really good. If you go to Walmart, you're on your own. Forget that. That's not going to happen. And they never have any aisles open anymore. They want you to do all the self-checking out with that. But I've done it before. We've been in Costco and we've got a cart full of stuff. The person behind us has like 3 items and we go, you want to go ahead of us? Go ahead. And usually those people are very polite. Oh, no, it's okay. I said, no, go ahead. It's okay. This is an outing for us. We don't get out much, so we're enjoying every moment of our experience. Thank you very much with it. But, other people don't do that kind of thing. Another thing, too, is in social media. This is where you'll find the most Karens in one spot. Facebook, Twitter, whatever. They all have an opinion, don't they? And they all feel that everybody else needs to hear their opinion because it's the only opinion that's right. And they don't have any gumption about criticizing what other people have written or what other people have put up. I don't put things up on Facebook anymore. I think for the first time in a long time, I put up something the other day, a few quilts that I had done. And that was it. But you get these people who are all complaining about this, complain about that, and they're all sharing their opinion about everything, and it's always their opinion's the right one. That's a Karen. That's a Karen move on there. But I think the social media these days lends itself to Karens. They thrive on that kind of thing. You can go on YouTube and you put in Karens on a search engine, you will find literally hundreds of videos showing you people whoever's been filming it or have been recording it consider this as a Karen move. And there are some really bad people there who will get right in the face of cops, people in authority, no matter what, and feel perfectly justified for everything they're doing. I mean, those are people too. I think another characteristic of a Karen is no conscience. No conscience at all. I have a conscience. That's why I felt bad about that whole incident that I told you about at Costco. I still feel bad about it because I've already explained my reasons for it. But really, Karens, no conscience whatsoever. Judy says, if my husband was there and seen what you went through, he would have started mooing. I like your husband. Moo, moo, moo. Actually, to be truthful, we have done that. Not
mooing.
Yeah, mooing. The piggies at the trough or the cows at the trough, whatever. I mean, we've walked around places and gone, moo, moo, moo. Only to each other, though, not loud enough that people could hear it. Sometimes. Maybe I am a rude person. I don't know. Let's see what's up. Susan says, my daughter had to ask one of the rudest checkers if her bunch of bananas counted as just one item. She was just 16 and the checker brought her to tears when she snapped saying, are you that stupid? Let me pull this apart. My daughter had to ask one of the rudest checkers if her bunch of bananas counted as just one item. She was just 16 and the checker brought her to tears when she snapped saying, are you that stupid? Oh, I get it now. So the checker person was the rude one and making it like,
well,
a bunch of bananas is one item.
Yeah,
they're attached.
Yeah, they're and usually, I don't know about America, but here they weigh them.
Yeah.
So it's pretty obvious.
That's one item.
But the thing is, if your daughter was only 16 at the time, and this checker says something like that, that's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she's obviously unsure and she's trying to be nice.
So, that checker should have said, oh yeah, that count. They're all attached, sweetie. That's just one item, not to worry about it. Instead of calling her stupid. I mean, yeah, that person shouldn't have that job because obviously they're not really into customer service.
I'm sure they see a lot of strange things at the checkout.
And Patsy says, I like the self-check aisles. I hate that someone doesn't have a job because they're self-check. But yeah, but it's technology and,
I mean, I think it's all going that way.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the self-check aisles, but actually we go through them a lot of times at Costco because it's faster.
Yeah.
And
if you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're
It
doing.
can be very, very confusing if it's the first time, or even if you've used them before, but every store has its own little quirks. And what I hate, I think some of those machines are Karens, because you have to push 1,000 buttons before you start putting your stuff through. And when you go to pay, they ask you, would you like to donate to such and such? No, thank you. How many bags did you have? None. Would you like to take a trip to Hawaii? Would you like to fill out our survey? Would you like to check me out now, you stupid machine, you Karen?
Well, the other one was if the machine, if your product doesn't have a barcode on it or something, and to look at the item up is sometimes a chore. Tricky. Because it's sometimes hard to find where you look it up.
Oh, and here's a tip. If you have to look up produce on it, be careful. Say you were looking up for the price of celery or something like that, like you don't have a code number for it. When you press in celery will come up, but you'll get a couple of selections. And the first one is usually organic, which costs a lot more money. And unless you bought organic and intended to, your first nature will be, oh, I saw celery, and you hit that button and you're paying more for it. Read it. Careful. That's a trick. That is a trick they put in there to make you pay more for something you did not intend to buy. So just a tip, just a little shopping tip with kiosks. So there's even rude people on the road. We all know about road rage and everything like that, but they don't take into consideration that there are laws and it is dangerous. And we just had an incident that happened here in our city. When did it happen? The accident, the guys racing, wiped out 8
Saturday.
people. Yeah. We don't know all the details. They've only just started to talk about it on the news in our area, but apparently 2 cars were going way too fast down a residential road in our area, and the suggestion is that they were racing and whatnot. One car went airbound and ran into the chip truck, and there were a lot of people, the French fry truck, and there were a lot of people standing there. 8 people were taken to hospital. 1 person died, and the cars burst into flames. So this was very, very serious. But, to say this is an extreme example, but they were very, very rude, very Karen-like, thought only of themselves and the whole bit, not obeying the rules of the road because the rules of the road are for other people, not for them. But, on a smaller scale, people who don't bother to stop at stop signs now.
Especially in our area.
Yep, that's the rolling stop, and it's not even a stop. They just, the hell with you. And especially at 4-ways. And you're taking your life in your own hands when you cross one of those intersections now, because you don't know.
I've noticed that some of the 4-ways here, people decide that instead of taking turns, 2 of them will go through at once on one side.
Yeah. So rude, Karen, and those ones could be dangerous to life as well. And really, all of these Karens and that are not contributing positively to the environment that we all live in. The world is a nasty place these days. Everybody is tense. Everybody feels pressure. Everybody's angry. Because
everybody's in a rush.
And everybody's in a rush. And all these Karens do is trigger people. She triggered me, that one in Costco. But how Karens trigger a lot of people. And that makes people lash out on other people. And makes our environment very sad. Really. It is not a kind place. And it transfers to other areas. Like, you think twice before you might donate to something because you can't trust them because you're angry. You might lash out at somebody you don't know for something that's very, very minor. Whatever. It just makes life miserable. And Karens are contributing to that horrible life.
Apology to people that are named Karen.
Yeah, we're sorry about that. We didn't create the name, okay? Nor did we create Piggies at the top.
It should be a different name that means the same thing. That doesn't identify with a It doesn't identify with somebody's name.
Shithead? Yeah, I can think of one that starts with a C, but the ladies would be upset if I use that word, so I'm not going to use that word. I almost used that word with that Karen in Costco. I almost did, but I caught myself because bitch was going to be replaced with you know what I mean. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Just catching up here. Judy says, when we go to Sam's, we do the scan and go. Avoid those lanes.
Yeah, Costco in our area, or not Costco, Walmart in our area, has reduced self-checkout lanes at times because I guess they have found that there's some theft.
Yeah, they have theft from that. And they watch you like a hawk on those lines. Patsy says she uses an app on her phone in Sam's Club too. No lines. We don't have that yet here that I know of. Susan says her favorite store used to have 6 checkout aisles and 4 self-checkouts. Now just 4 checkout aisles and 10 self-checkout. Yeah, that's the same here too.
More and more the Walmarts here have maybe 4 checkout lines and 4 man checkout lines, and the rest is all self-serve.
And Shoppers Drug Mart, which is a big drugstore chain here in Canada. There's one on every corner. The one closest to us, and it's probably the same the other ones, they have like 4 kiosks for checking out, and they never have anybody on.
And I've noticed some stores, regardless of whether there is a checkout or not, have posted that they don't accept cash at those lines.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the way our world is going. Designing Jay says stores near me are reducing their self-checkout lanes and are for 15 items or less. Too much theft. Yeah. Yeah. So, couple of comments then as we finish up here because we're overtime now. We had one. It was a comment to my whole thing about being a cranky old man. I guess I proved it today on my discussion about Costco. Lisa Marie said, Stephen, you had me laughing so hard when you were talking about being a cranky old man and what you would do. It was just so funny, but I get it. Sometimes you just want to be like that. Don't we deserve the discounts, the door holding, and the assistance of others? I think we've earned it. That's another thing with rude people. Nobody holds the door open for you anymore, whether you're a man or a woman. I mean, that's just rude. I was always taught that if you got to the door first and there's somebody right behind you, hold the door open for them. Kind of a deal. But nope, they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, that started happening a long time ago when I was working in Toronto in the late 70s, early 80s. In the late 70s, people were still holding doors open for other people. Yeah. And then 2 or 3 years down the road, people just stopped doing it. And it was like doors would slam in your face.
Yeah. And you'd run into them. Sometimes you're anticipating the person in front of you is going to open the door for you. And then you're both, or they shove their body right in front of you and away they go. I find that happens more often with the younger generation.
I found some younger generation actually.
Well, there are some. Yeah.
I found it seems to happen more in large centers, like where there's a lot of people, where people aren't holding doors open.
Yeah. Yeah, it's small towns.
In small towns,
they still do it.
Be more polite.
And then,
especially for old people like us.
Yeah. Then another person said, Jenny 2947 said, I'm a cranky old woman who plays pranks for my amusement. And I thought, you go, girl. Yeah. I mean, we got old. We got to have some fun. I mean, you know, we've paid our dues to society. It's time now to have fun. That's why I always told people when I retired. So what are you going to do when you're tired? And I said, be a cranky old man. And I am living up to that. And just to finish up here, Cheryl says, yes, pick a different name. My sister's name is Karen. Sounds the same, but at least the spelling is different. My sister's not a Karen. And Karen Cox says, I feel the same, just like to have some fun with it. So when I go to a retreat next year, I will bring canned spray cheese to be safe. Well, you know the way to a cranky old man's heart. This cranky old man's heart is spray cheese. Yeah, it always works. So anyways, thanks everybody for coming today and listening to me rattle on about being rude.
So at the risk of being rude to all of you, we will say thank you. Thank you for coming. Have a great week, and we'll see you again soon. So bye, everybody.
Bye.
And I hit the wrong button. And this is 310. Ooh.